All right, so I'm gonna get us started off now. I just started the recording for anyone who can't be here this evening. I'll be sending this recording to all of them and all of you as well. So let me take a moment just to introduce Cake. If you're new to us, we're located here in Easton, Maryland, helping farmers in Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia. We're also trying to expand a little bit wider with our reach. So we're here, we provide educational courses and business services as well for farmers in all different stages. So I see a couple new faces. I also see some familiar names. So it's really great to have you all here tonight. I'll introduce myself. I'm Madison. I'm the farm consultant with Cake. So we got some new people in the waiting room. So yeah, I deliver the one-on-one business services, and Isabel is here helping me as well. I believe that Emiliano will join. He's the director of our organization, and we'll give them a chance to introduce themselves maybe at the end if they would like. But now that we have a couple more people here, I'm very excited to introduce Austin Wright. He's going to be our guest speaker this evening for the webinar Agribusiness Knowledge, the Key to Profitability Success. I am very excited to learn. I will be taking notes of my own. Austin is already sharing his screen. So whenever you're ready, Austin, if you'd like to give a brief introduction and dive right in.
Sure. To everyone, I'm grateful to Cake for allowing me to speak, and I'm also very grateful to share something that I've only been passionate about, but I've been involved in pretty much my whole life inside college. My degrees in agri-science education and economics from North Carolina Agriculture and Technical State University in Greensboro, North Carolina. I've been practicing agriculture for the previous 25 years, not just as an extension agent from when I started, but also being able to do everything from imports, exports, small business development itself, helping small agribusinesses go from small to medium. That's been my specialty for the last 15 years directly itself. I'm based out of Richmond, Virginia, but I service small and mid-sized farmers nationwide. The number one thing that I love to do that I've taken a passion in for many years is helping them begin the journey. And the key importance in helping begin the journey is starting the process of where do I start? What do I do? Where do I go? What do I grow? What do I sell? What is my soil knowledge? What is my basis? If I have a tenth of an acre, what can I do to be profitable? Right now, we're working with the underline in Miami. My team and I are working with them constructing, building, and also having a 150,000 square foot farmers market facility. The underline runs under the rail line in South Florida for almost 10 miles from which they're working on, and they tasked me to help build them there. I also work with a numerous amount of co-ops where we also provide other educational and training opportunities and certificate programs itself. And we've been blessed to work with Cake up here in Maryland and help them expand beyond. And today I'm going to share with you guys something that is the most important part of the agricultural sector. And that is understanding the finance. We farm to take care of people, but we farm for streams of income, profitability, more development. Majority of agriculture is small farms. Majority of agriculture is small farms. I want you to understand. So your presence inside of this ecosystem today is extremely important. It is very important. But the number one thing we need to talk about is how to grow wealth through knowledge of agricultural financial literacy. So let's dive into it. So understanding financial principles, yes, it is essential to modern farming as understanding soil and weather. So where's your business plan? First question I always ask. What is your business plan? You know, we know what a vision statement is. We know about mission statements, but what is yours? How detailed is it? What's your niche? What's your purpose involved in it? We're gonna take a look at a few things today inside of it, and perfectly I can give you guys a better understanding. And if you have any questions, I will give you guys all my contact information to contact me directly in what direction we really need to go into. So let's dive into it a little bit. Understanding farm economics, revenue streams, and cost structures. So operations have a unique pattern, but what's really your pattern? It's different than traditional business. Understanding the patterns are crucial for success. So commodity sales, crops, livestock, dairy, value add products. These are things that are going to make the future of agriculture itself very important in what you do. So, which one are you doing? How can you add value to your product? What makes it different than what's on the shelf? Years ago, we started with milk. You had three kinds of milk almost 20 years ago: skim milk, 2% milk, whole milk. Today, you have everything from oat milk, silk, all kinds of different milk. But then they have cashew milk. You have different ordeals that are inside of the product. Government payments and subsidies. Do we have contracts with government? How do we get them? They all tell you go to the USDA to get opportunity and get help. But how do we get there? Are we working with different co-ops? Are we working with partnerships? Are we able to look at grants? Are we able to look at, how do we register for SAMS.gov? Agritourism and experiential income. Agritourism is one of the biggest forms on the rise of agriculture opportunities for financial success. We have over 337 million people inside of the United States. In Virginia, it's 8.9 million itself. Inside the Richmond metropolitan area, it's 1.3 million. Where can we market to? The Eastern Shore still has some great land and great opportunities available to be able to provide to that base. Inside of Maryland, your base here covers almost 6 million people inside of Baltimore, Maryland metro area. DC metropolitan area, we're still around 6 to 7 million alone. There's plenty of opportunity. But what's your business plan? What's your target? What's your niche? Those three things, majority of farmers fail to answer in the first year of developing their plan and executing. I'm going to say it again. Your niche, your market, your business plan. Your niche, your market, your business plan are the things that have to be targeted when you first come out of the gate inside of your plan. Do you have a farm ID? You register your land with the Farm Service Agency. Have you done your soil samples with your extension office to know what's available to grow, to know if the land you're leasing or you own is actually ready to produce what you need? If you guys are doing hydroponics or aquaponics, those are things that really a lot of people need to study, because as land becomes scarce or landlocked in a lot of our areas, the only real way we can grow mostly now is growing up. When land's not available, your niche could be, if you're having a hydroponic farm, you can grow constantly on a regular basis inside of a room. If you're growing greens. But what's your business plan for it? Variable costs, seed, fertilizer, food and labor. Do you know what your costs are? Fixed costs, opportunity costs. All of these things matter inside. Your equipment. Equipment's the hardest thing really to grab. But what's the number one problem for small farmers that have everything between 0 to 50 acres? Do you need employees for what you farm for? Financial statements for agriculture operations. Do we have a balance sheet? Do we have income statements? These are things most farmers do not know how to do. You guys appear like a great group of guys that are extremely smart, and you guys are taking in, when you first get in, how do we mitigate risk? Balance sheets help that. How often do we stick to that task? What are our assets? What are our liabilities? Equity, the difference between assets and liabilities, your net worth, best practices. What are we really doing? Are we preparing detailed balance sheets? Do we know how to? This is a whole different section, really, really in a whole different presentation that we do on a normal basis. Income statements, record revenue, and expenses over a specific period, usually a year. What's our gross revenue? Operating expenses by category. Are we breaking stuff down on how we're generating money? What depreciates of capital assets? Net farm income. This is your actual profit or loss. And this is where 75% of farmers actually get caught in the mix where they're knowing whether they made money or where they've lost money. Average farms don't generate money for at least between 4 to 7 years where you can see a real return. So I take mostly everyone here are small farmers to start out. But like an acre, a lot of people don't understand how much money can be really made with having an acre. Do we know the space? Do we know what we're doing? If we have a small room where we're growing hydroponics, do we know exactly what do we tend to make generating from seed to development? The best practice, track income and expenses by enterprise to identify your most profitable activities. What are you doing best that's turning the key profit? Cash flow management, seasonal consideration. So the unique cash flow challenge in agriculture, I can go through this paragraph here and break it down in 6 different ways, but on many businesses, farms often experience cash flow imbalances due to seasonal nature. So what does that mean? One, what crops are growing during potential seasons? Fall season's coming up. Number one thing that is easily put out mostly is greens, collard greens. But also, what crops can you grow year round that actually are able to make money? Spinach, kale, turnip greens. And if you rotate your crops within your collard greens itself during season, you're able to make a lot of money. When you go inside everywhere between Wegmans, Shoppers, Kroger, Safeway, all these restaurants constantly run out of greens. 2 reasons why. One, we don't have enough production. Two, a lot of people don't know how to grow in and out of season. The real small growers actually are able to constantly make more money off greens pretty much almost than any other crop. Greens are pretty much the easiest thing to grow. So this time mismatch is what? Creates unique challenges that require careful planning and management to ensure operational liquidity throughout the year. Let's look at a couple points here. High cash flow. If we have high cash flow, we normally know what we're doing. And I'm simplifying a lot of this here for those that are reading along. Major expenses, input, seed, fertilizer, chemical, minimum income creates peak borrow needs. A lot of farmers struggle when it comes time to purchase chemicals. Chemicals, fertilizer are the most expensive thing coming out alone, next to labor. Then the next thing that we got to look at is really what's the creating peak? When's the best time that our crops are able to grow? All right. Summer, continue investment, ongoing expenses for pest management, irrigation equipment, maintenance while waiting for harvest. When you plant your crops for seeds inside of the ground, how difficult is it to manage on a normal basis? That can become very expensive. Because if one thing goes wrong, or if you spread the wrong type of mixture, if you're using 10-10-10 or 8-8-8, and what I mean by that is if you're using, sulfur, phosphate, nitrogen for a mix, just as an example, and you have the wrong formula, that can actually mess you up. But what is the one thing farmers struggle with is strategic planning. Periods for tax planning, securing financial, and really preparing inputs for next season's, discounts, or even how to plan for next season. A lot of small farmers don't plan for the next season, especially keeping financial records. How are your records being kept currently? Don't got to answer, but just think about it. How are your records kept currently? because effective management requires creating detailed cash flow and projections, maintaining adequate operations. A lot of small farmers from the traditional format normally like to keep things written down. They have detailed notes. They know everything and anything that's going on inside the farm. Agriculture lending, navigating loans and credit options. It is extremely different than when it was before, because most of the time when we obtained loans for small farms, you used to be able to go to the farm service agency and you were able to get a microloan for like 50,000, 45,000. Back in the days. If you had 10 or 20 acres, you could get 250,000, be able to pay it back over odd years of like 4%. Now the Farm Service Agency has really removed itself back from the traditional government lending. And with Wright Industries, what one thing we've done was work with a couple of our partners with credit unions, where we're able to give startup businesses and assist them in getting up to $40,000 in cash to start out with, and they pay it back over 3 to 5 years, maybe 8 to 10% on interest, but they're able to have startup capital because the federal government has lent more towards banking systems, towards anything else. But let's take a look. Common agricultural loan types: short-term, long-term financing, equipment loans, for medium-term financing, real estate loans, long-term financing for land acquisition, agribusiness loans for value-added processing or farm, diversification. Specialized ag lenders, farm credit systems, USDA, like I said, Farm Service Agency, commercial banks with ag divisions, state agriculture loan programs with specific developmental goals. So again, what's your business plan? Because when you're going for financial, prepared comprehensive documentation, you understand, what your plan is along with your credit scores impacted by developing relationships with ag lenders and who understands farming unique cycles and risk. How detailed is your plan? What is your vision? What is your mission? Are you able to create a profit with where you are? Risk management, insurance, hedging, and diversification. So I made this one small because a lot of times when we look at different types of risk, how are we mitigating our risk? We want to have a small risk, least amount of risk as possible in business. I think everyone understands that. But how diversified are we in producing our crops? What are our hedging strategies? So, future contracts, are we out there searching? Do we have agreements in place before we plant? Number one problem for small farmers. We want to get out there, we want to grow, we want to produce. What do we have sold? Your number one goal as a small farmer before you plant one seed is to have an agreement, have a contract, have something in place. Because anytime anything can happen, because I have a farmer now that produced 200 acres of watermelon in North Carolina. He did not sell not one watermelon. Didn't have a contract in place, didn't have an agreement, nowhere to sell it. He figured he could grow it and start moving on highways and side of the roads. You got to have agreements nowadays. Inside of our country, it is more competitive than anything else. Small, yes, because we want to mitigate the risk. Insurance protocols. Do you have crop insurance? Do you guys know what your Maryland crop insurance agencies are? Anything can happen. How do we limit risk? Insurance can cover, save you. Natural disasters can happen. Anything can happen at any point in time. It is important to know, how are you mitigating risk? What's your business plan? What's your mission? What's your vision? Tax planning and compliance for agriculture businesses. Year-round planning. I can't, I can't stress this enough. Having effective tax management is extremely strong. A lot of farms go under because they're not managing finances properly. Tax provisions in agriculture, income averaging to manage fluctuating farm income. Section 179 deduction for equipment purchases. This is something we need to know about because we look for things to write off on a normal basis. If you have a bigger farm, fuel tax credits for off-road equipment use. This is also manageable for all other kinds of equipment, from vehicles that are used off-road to go to the farm, all the way through for your transportation for tractors and other farm equipment that you're using. So, I mean, professional guidance, work with accountants that specialize in agriculture, not your regular CPAs, because a lot of them don't understand the laws that are actually helping small farmers. And agriculture operations have unique considerations. There are things different than a regular CPA would actually be able to use. Investment strategies for farm expansion. We look for return of investment targets. You're looking at around 12% payback period, 3 to 5 years, and then reinvestment rate is 20%. So when we look at reinvestment, what are we putting back into our business? What are you putting back in? A lot of small farmers take their first year profits and don't keep track of them. They'll take their first year profits, spend them on something that they don't want to take time to work. Farming's a business like anything else, but farming is hard work. Maintaining the business of agriculture is almost twice as hard because a lot of us don't manage our business properly when it comes to starting our smart farmers. So prioritizing investments, technologies that reduce input, land improvements, and this is big. What are we doing to constantly turn our soils over or our hydroponics over to constantly grow and evolve our production in agriculture? We deal with a lot of row crops where we are. So are we able to actually evolve the land properly to constantly make it profitable? Equipment that reduces labor requirements. What kind of equipment are we maintaining? How are we taking care of our setups? Sustainability that really does what? Reduces long-term risk. All these things, if we do properly, mitigating risk, knowing our crops, maintaining our business plan, and executing our plan. What is your mission? What is your vision? Those 5 things have the biggest effect when you're talking about your minimum return of investment target. Most farmers tend to go for 15 to 20% when successful. Payback period. Are you able to pay back the loans that you have out? Are you able to pay your investors back out? What contract did you get when you first started? When you're at your farmer's market, are you hitting your goal? If you're a reseller, which is okay, are you hitting the mark for you to continue reselling your product? Reinvestment. How much are we reinvesting into our business? Successful planning. Preserving agriculture assets, starting the conversation. When you begin discussing with stakeholders, when you start beginning with your partners, when you start having communications about goals, expectations, and concerns, and creating a foundation, all those things that are great, you need to mention. You need to get them interested. You need to spark because someone else is coming behind you. You guys are in an area where if you're needing a refrigerated truck to be able to go from point A to point B, if you have an agreement, let's just say in Bethesda, and you have a grocery store there that may say, hey, I constantly need, you know, I need to know if you can bring me 100 pounds of greens a week. When they say greens, it could be mixed greens, could be different ones. Do you have the packaging for it? And if you do, Those guys go and do successful transactions every week. Why? They're not looking for much work. Start the conversation about the goals, expectations. Give them that foundation to know that it's great to work with you. Current state of your documents. Create a comprehensive inventories of all assets, operations, markets, relationships. Identify the current management in those businesses. Are you talking to the produce manager at Walmart? Walmart produce managers look for any and everything. Here's another question. Do you guys know the distribution centers in your area? Jessup, Maryland holds everything from frozen fish. You got Cisco in Pocomoke City, Maryland. My dad drove for them for 25 years. Purdue, they have to, if you got chicken feed, do you have the relationships with the managers or those groups inside of there? And also know the current state. Because if you know everything inside of those relationships, you're going to be strong. Develop the vision. What is your vision? It's in your business plan, part of your vision statement, part of your mission statement. Why am I emphasizing those three things more than anything? Because in the very beginning stages, these things make the difference. These things make the difference. You have the vision, you're able to start the conversation. You're passionate about the vision. You're able to do what? You're able to have those relationships. You're able to go in with confidence inside of those farmers markets, inside of those businesses, inside of your group meetings, inside of those conferences, and have those conversations. Because what's the one thing that's common? Everybody's got to eat. Population is constantly going to grow. We're not going to stop growing. There are more people being born than there are ever dying. That's never going to change. Create legal structures. Work with estate planning attorneys and financial advisors to develop appropriate legal and financial structures that facilitate transfer while minimizing tax implications. Get a lawyer. If you're growing 1/20th of an acre to 3,000 acres, have an attorney. Not just for the financials, but also if someone says, hey, I got E. coli from you. You never know. Anything can happen. Building your farm financials resilience. Next 30 days, complete a comprehensive balance sheet to establish your baseline financial position. Review your record keeping system, identify improvements. Schedule a meeting with an agricultural lender to discuss credit options. Begin tracking expense by enterprise to measure profitability. Let's look at the next 90 days. And you guys will definitely get a copy of this. Save it, review it, go through it. But these are the great steps. Create a detailed cash flow projection for the next 12 months. Review your risk management strategy with an insurance specialist. Identify one financial skill to develop further through education. That one's very important there, and I'm telling you why, because a lot of people only look to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. But what are we doing to save money? Identify one financial skill. Establish your key financial metrics to track monthly. What's your quota? Do you have a objective? We always set goals. So like for us, my group, we set up a way to make sure we're able to get farmers financed and get farmers, starting new farmers off the ground, ready to go. Our goal is to make sure that we have 10 successful farms funded every month. I'm gonna say it again. Our goal is to have 10 successful farms funded every month. When we start them, we want to make sure they're hitting the ground running. So we have their plan, we review their plan, we go through their course load. What are they taking? What are they doing? Where are they establishing? Where do they need to go? Where is their objective that they want to start? What's going to get them from point A to point B? Next 12 months, complete enterprise analysis to determine profitability by activity. Develop a strategic plan for a capital investment. Begin or update your succession planning process. Meet with an agriculture tax specialist for tax planning. Establish an advisory team, lender, accountant, attorney, insurance agent, whoever. But let's talk about one thing that we look at. While we look at successions, we also got to examine where we failed. Where we failed cost. Where we fell off cost money. There's no failures. They're lessons learned. You're going to fail a lot. You're going to fail a lot in life. But all it takes is that one success from learning the lesson for you to hit excellence along your journey. Now, I'm going to talk about, even though the slide shows, I'm going to talk about a few things that are successes inside of you guys' plan. But before I continue, does anyone have any questions so far to this point? Any questions? All right, I'll continue on. When you guys start determining your crops, let me ask in a different setting, and you guys can put it into. I see the chat's been in here so far going in. But let me ask you guys and put in the chat because I'm curious to know. This is the educator part coming out of me. Let me see a list of crops you guys or items you guys wanted to grow in the very beginning. Put it in the chat for me. I want to know what kind of crops, what kind of ag business, what did you want to do when you started up your agriculture exploration? When you started up in the very beginning, what are the things that you wanted to do? What was your overall goal? Hmm. Apple pears, leasing land, solar energy. The solar energy is going to be a big one. You picked a great niche. Peppers, onions, tomato, leafy greens, those are good. Those are real good. Inside of the items that you guys have here, mushrooms, very good. Very, very good. Let me share something with you guys. The items that you guys listed, the items that you guys listed, and you guys have looked at, yes, they are repeat items that are constantly bought on a normal basis. They are constantly purchased on a normal basis and a great place to start. Yes, mushrooms are extremely huge right now. They're actually one of the biggest items that are actually being produced currently. Well, let me say this, attempted to be produced currently across the nation as a niche crop. How many of you guys are practicing to be organic? How many of you guys are practicing to be organic? I really want to sit on this topic for a little bit right now. Growing organic. Yes. Growing organic, it may seem tedious. You may have to work with just state administrators and everyone else, but it is the most profitable one out of all of them. Know your Maryland organic organizations itself. Oh, very good. Very good. You have someone on your team that helps obtain your certifications. You guys really need to take advantage of that. The organic practices that are needed to grow, develop, and build and become stronger, those are the things you really need to study on and work towards. If you're a transitional farm, I encourage you, if you have 3 to 5 acres, take a half acre, take a fourth of an acre, and start working definitely on learning the organic process. Work on the practices on how to transition. Your revenue streams for growing organic as they go across the globe almost triple. I actually, when I was in Kentucky, I worked with the Organic Association for Kentucky. I had 3 farms that transitioned over a 3-year period, going from putting out German Johnson tomatoes, Meridian tomatoes that were regularly using, even though they use non-GMOs, but they had to transfer to going organic. When they transferred to going organic, Kroger did a contract with them to produce nothing but organic tomatoes. They had their buffers at 150 feet, but I know a lot of you guys that are starting out, you're like, that's not my lane. And that's okay, because guess what? You're still able to produce, grow, develop all of your crops on a normal basis. All the items that you guys mentioned here, you guys are able to go get contracts with no problem. So, how is the development of your business plan constructed? How is your executive summary? Matter of fact, let me give you one better. How are you guys building your business plans? Do you guys use PowerPoint still? Or have you guys learned the basis of AI yet on how to maximize the beauty of a presentation? How many of you guys, again, know your distributors? Yes, Chat GPT is good. Let me give you guys, Canva is a good one. And if you're able to go through Canva and transfer your items, they'll actually be able to help you in your business planning also as well. If you use Chat GPT, look up the 5.0 version. That's out now, that came out beginning of August. That one actually helps you gives a lot of synergy with that and transferring over. So those are big, but there are a lot of different AI apps now. That's a whole other lesson I would have to give out and teach. But that right there actually is something that works very well for that. Live Plan, yes, is very good to use. So I'm real ecstatic really to see the number of groups that are on here right now representing different businesses and different organizations. And we actually work with Cake now, and we're offering live in-person series also as well, where I have different universities that come up and also teach different courses and different objectives inside of this ecosystem in Maryland now you guys have. Like the next lesson that we want to be able to do in person that we're working on is you know marketing niche products and creation, and also entrepreneurship education and digital applications, which works on AgTech. So we also do production agriculture, where we're doing a lot of, working on soil development, ground research, and last but not least, what mixes and your formulas are you doing for your crops to make sure you're successful. So how many guys have over an acre? How many of you guys have over an acre in land? You, hello? Oh, it's okay. 600 square feet, 120-acre forest, okay. 242. This is good stuff. And I'm not just saying you guys have enough to be successful, but you guys have enough to that's okay, tech department. You guys have enough really to make that impact. Yes, Miss Ward. Miss Ward, I see your hand.
Oh yeah, no, I thought it was a yes or no question, and
Oh,
that's why I raised my.
okay. All right, well, thank you. Yes, you guys have more than enough really to not just start, but really I'm really curious to know what stage you guys are in with the land that you guys have. Because another thing that I do also as well and that I provide is also exporting opportunities. So let me share with you guys something else here too with what you guys have. And I don't know where your investment dollars are right now and everything else, but okay, okay, Christine, I see it. All right. Let me tell you guys. If you guys know, the US is 4.25% of the world population. The other 96% or 95 and some change is on the other side of the globe. You have buyers that are on the other side of the globe on a constant basis looking for a US product on a normal day. And we don't take advantage of our abilities to be able to export our products and look to go overseas. Niche products exporting is something that's very big. And a lot of you guys have more than enough land, even in a couple 100 feet, to be able to not just grow raw products and raw materials to move, but also consider having small processing facilities for value add. If you're growing onions, for instance, are we able to have another version of Funyuns, another type of cracker? If you're having land where you guys can, have different leafy products, even though leafy products are difficult to do what? Difficult to get, overseas because they have to be refrigerated a lot of the time. So it's easier to sell here. But don't we have different leafy snacks? If we're growing different types of beans like peas, we're able to create a different types of, pea snacks that we're able to have for Asian peas that we actually do. So I mean, there are different ways to have different candies, different products to be able to move to different markets. But do we know the value of what it takes to export our products? These are things that are extremely important that we need to look at on how to make ourselves more viable when it comes to producing more products for us to be able to be more marketable. And Maryland's becoming a way bigger exporting state than we've ever imagined. So you guys have an ability not only to have a strong port, but also a strong community with what you guys have. So I mean, you guys have a lot of things that are there. And yes, the Import-Export Bank is something that is there. We deal with it a lot. So around the embassies around the US, their job is to have their agencies, the ones that are remaining, to promote and have excess availability to make sure that we have buyers that are able to have extended credit. So what happens is the US makes sure that a buyer is able to have extended credit from a buyer overseas. They meet the criteria, they meet spec, and the US gives them credit. You get your money and everything up front from using the Import-Export Bank. And as long as they qualify, they take the risk. And there are other import-export banks across the globe that actually work to help them meet risk. Like Angola has their own, Tanzania has their own. All of them want to be able to do trade in and out. And for instance, if you know the tariff rate, like in Africa, we have a situation in Ethiopia, it's 10% the tariff rate there currently. Bolivia is at 15%. Ironic to mention that one. But a lot of times we have to be able to have assistance, and our government does provide the assistance there. And there are some other entities that are able to help also as well with it. So think about exporting too. You guys have a lot of land and a lot of, accessibility to be able to grow and develop, but crawl, walk, run. Crawl, walk, run. In agriculture, it is the number one thing to do is to crawl, walk, run.
I have a question before you proceed.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. This is Kat Ward. For you talked about the import export. Exactly do you tap into that? And is that really geared towards value added products, or if you are growing salad and how does that that chain work, that supply chain work, or am
Great
I getting
question.
to a
No,
different
no, no,
thing?
no, 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 no. Excellent question. It's a
Yeah.
very great question. So the first thing that normally is done, so you actually are growing a USD product. There are two divisions normally people go to export for. So either if you're working with the import export groups, it's either the Department of Commerce, most of the time they deal with chemicals and everything else, or depending on your state, there's a state organization that deals with like the mid-Atlantic states that work with different groups to export. Like in the South, it's a group called SUSTA. You know, they deal in the Southeast with all the US states between Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, you know, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Louisiana, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And they're based out of New Orleans. So, and they're eager to help. You give them a call, and what they do is they take your business information. I don't know which one is for Maryland, but there is an organization, and I will be more than happy to find it for you if someone knows it. You know, please
Okay.
share it.
Can you put it in
But
the
what,
chat? Thanks.
yeah. So you'll contact them and register with them directly. And then when you register with them, they're going to ask you full detailed questions of, you know, what's your product? What do you have? What do you offer? And normally someone from there will give you a call to follow up and assist you in where you can go. And then they also go through the different exporting, you know, procedures, the policies that are in there for you to know and how to grow. And they're very informative. When I started exporting, I did peanuts from Virginia years ago because we produced something called extra large peanuts, not regular peanuts. And Sister was very helpful. They also have trade shows. They'll put you on to different opportunities for you to get out, showcase your product. And sometimes they'll have inbound trade missions where they will come to your state. I know Governor, you know, what's more for you guys is huge on exports currently. And what they do, they will have inbound trade shows. They'll also have outbound trade missions for you guys to go abroad and meet your customers face to face to be able to work with them. Also, that's a great question you asked. You can also look up the Foreign Agriculture Service on the USDA website, and they will give you the email addresses of those foreign ag service agents to work with directly. Hold on one second. Let me do something for you guys.
I was able to share Sesta in the chat.
Thank you. You guys, everyone there, save that link. That is a huge link and a huge resource for you guys to be able to work with. Hold on one second. I'm going to go back to screen share for you guys. All right. When you guys go into the U.S. Foreign Ag Service, you go to countries and regions. It'll give you the list of different regions throughout the world, obviously. So we're going to use one for an example. So you can go to Africa, you can come to Asia. When we started with Africa, but let me see where to go. But let me just use an example. So in Africa, it'll give you, I'll just stay with Africa. Contact. In Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, they have the websites, and here's an email address for you guys to contact directly. And someone from that office, I guarantee it, because it's worked for us, will contact you. But let's click on a country like Tanzania. So Tanzania has another contact. But guess what? Tanzania doesn't have Dar es Salaam as the website, but Nairobi's in Kenya. So they don't have an office. But if you look here, it gives you who to contact. And then it also gives you the breakdown of each country. But here's another thing that's key for you too, guys. Top exports to Tanzania. Top exports to Tanzania. I'm going to say it again. Each country will give you a breakdown of what is exported to Tanzania from the United States, tells you the value, tells you the metric ton, and the 10-year average value, and also what's growing. go to another for you guys. Oops. Click on one more. I don't know why I'm doing that. Let's go to South Africa. Right now, the tariff for South Africa, if I'm wrong, someone tell me I'm wrong, but I think we're around 30% for the tariff. Number one thing that they look for, soybeans. If you guys have a lot of land, soybeans is the one thing that constantly has to be produced. The grower has to process it. They process it for a lot of value add. Tree nuts, poultry meats, planting seeds, food preparations, distilled spirits, corn, dairy products. Let's go to another one that's 10% tariffs. Let's go to Ethiopia. Food preparations for value add, coarse grains, beef products, sugar, nurse. But you're like, okay, where can we get more? But once you hear, let's look this up here. Now we know Asia has the most population. India has 1.425 billion. Actually, a little more than that now. China's the second largest country in the world. So let's look at India. What does India import from the United States? It's another high tariff country right now. We export 2.25 billion. Tree nuts, ethanol, cotton, pulse, dairy products, other meat feeders, fresh fruit, soybean oil. So there would be your value add. And here is the 10-year growth projections itself and what's being brought in. Let's look at Nepal.
Where do you go to find out the current tariff rates on these countries while looking at this site to see what's most popular to sell or most important?
Great question. I love people to ask a lot of questions. Love it. Normally I'll Google it, but let's pull up the list because I have it saved on my other laptop. So let's.
A quick question: since right now President Trump has started the date, his tariff, his trade team is getting us lower tariffs in the ag business. Shouldn't that open up? Shouldn't that open up more markets?
Tariffs will open up some markets if
because the tariffs are being dropped now. Yeah, because the tariffs are being dropped.
It would depend on which country's being dropped currently.
Okay.
They're extending the term to negotiate, but the way that he has the tariffs right now, and I'll just say it from an economic standpoint, does not work because a lot of countries.
Well,
go ahead.
I got to slightly kind of disagree on that because I've done some research myself, and that is I've talked to some farmers too. They said because of some of the low tariff rates that are being negotiated down, and it is going to open up the market.
Well, what countries are being negotiated down is the question.
Right. Yeah,
because if you're looking at, for instance, if I can't export my chemicals, which is being held up at Port of Los Angeles right now over to China, they're not taking them. It's not that's not working for me and my guys over at Port of Shanghai. If I'm negotiating to say, well, I'm going to extend. If I'm extending 30 days out for something that's working, then it's there. But for farmers right now, a lot of them, for instance, like you got wheat farmers that have been sitting for a year and a half at Port of Houston just on wheat that's
Yeah,
needed, over in Taiwan.
yeah, because I'm in Virginia. I was talking to a farmer that grows soybeans, and right now he's about to kill it because the tariffs are going down for
Which country? It depends,
that. Yeah,
because
okay, okay,
every country's different. So I
okay,
mean,
okay.
if he's at, for instance, in a lot of African here, like take a look here. So if I'm looking between Brazil, we know why they took a lot of business. India, Syria, Laos, these are countries here that, especially Canada, we shouldn't have issues. But as you go along, depending on the country, and these tariffs are high, especially for countries that we've known to do business with for a long time. But if you're exporting, these are things that are being taken into effect. So it depends on the country.
And that quick question now also too, can it also it depends on the product, right? So let's say that gentleman who I'm speaking to, he's doing soybeans, depends on the country he's selling it to. That's very probably business done great for him. But if it's another product, like you said, is something different. Then tariff might be a little bit different.
The tariff for that country is the tariff for that country that he set. It's no different tariff rate. If he sets a rate for 30%, it's 30% across the board. So it doesn't give. Now, what happens for some countries, they may get a discount on duties and taxes depending on the country and the amount that's exported. That varies. But when it's per country, these are tariffs across the board. And as we go through the list, you see that you have Taiwan, Vietnam, Cambodia, Indonesia, all the way across the board. These are what the tariffs rate is. So Afghanistan, 15%, Angola, 15%, Bolivia, 15%, Botswana, Cameroon, Chad, Costa Rica, 15, Cote d'Ivoire, 15. So if you're looking at the countries on where you want to consider doing business, I would look first at foreign ag service website. Look at, what are their top exports and do they match anything that you may have? Then after that, if they do, then I would make that target. But everyone here, if you're considering exporting, I would highly recommend looking at that sister website link that's dropped in there. But I'm gonna go to it though for everyone in there. So Norway, Papua you see here the different rates, and then they don't have all the list of the other countries that are at 10%, because there are a lot more of the countries that are at 10%. But let's look at sister. So the Southern U.S. Trade Association. So this would be the beginning part there. And it'll go through, as you see, this is someone at actually a trade show where they actually promote the products. But let's go to let me go to events. So as you see here, you got countries that are coming in and they tell you what kind of products that actually these people are looking for. And they'll tell you the event location, where actually the registration is here is passed. North Carolina, Tennessee, end of the month, Europe Forest Products, inbound trade mission in North Carolina, Tennessee. Shows you where it'll be. And then there's one actually where there's registration passed. But you see, they'll give you different situations, different ways to put you in front of customers itself. Let's look at this one here that's in Baltimore. Canada inbound trade mission for the nursery trade show. So if you guys are in, they'll give you all the information, the cost, the events, what it takes. But Normally, you guys got to be a member, but they'll tell you everything in there. But Susta is a very, very helpful tool that I really encourage you guys to definitely take advantage of, especially for you guys that are interested in exporting. Great questions to everyone. What part of Virginia are you from?
You're speaking to the tech department, right?
Yeah, take part. What part
yeah,
of Virginia
yeah,
from?
yeah, 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 yeah. I'm in
What part?
Suffolk, from the great state down south. I'm in Suffolk, Virginia.
You're in Suffolk. Okay.
Suffolk.
Suffolk.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in
Okay.
Suffolk,
That's good
but
stuff.
original I'm from down in Mississippi. Yeah, original I'm from down from Mississippi.
Okay. All right. Nothing wrong with that. That's good stuff.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Keep asking.
Is
You're
there
good.
is there a fee or certification for to have access to SISTA, or do you have to have a membership?
Susta takes membership, but Susta is free.
Okay.
The events cost. So, like, depending, sometimes they have free events. Like, we used to go to the export trade show in Miami that dealt with all the Caribbean countries.
Uh-huh.
And that part there is, you would register, pay a fee, and you just pretty much pay for yourself to go down there for a couple of days to market, meet with the different buyers from different countries. You get great contacts out of it, and you'll get a chance to meet with other businesses because they constantly come in to buy. So
Oh,
the ones that I normally would target for you guys really would be, let's just say, if I'm looking at Mexico. Mexico has a high population. If I'm producing, they produce a lot of, fruits and vegetables, but you have some Mexican buyers that look for value add products to come back into their country. They're taking those. So like China takes a little bit of everything, especially not just soybeans, but they'll take peanuts, they'll take beef is a big one. So if you have cattle, they if they can, they'll import as much beef as possible and much pork as possible. So definitely use Susta to make sure that you guys have full-fledged accessibility to open the markets. But these are great questions, and these are things that we're able to go through and share. And I know I'm on a time limit. I gotta
A
keep
quick
listening. You got
question.
another question? Ask away. Go ahead.
The so you're based out of Richmond, right? Richmond, Virginia.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Is there something like here, like same in Maryland? Is there a type of organization for like organic, to get certified in organics and trying to export stuff here in Virginia also?
No, each state has their own organic certification.
Okay, great.
Every state has their own organic certification. So it would actually, who would it be? I'm pulling up my contact list now. I can help you out there. Hold on one second.
Kate can also work with us on that. You said earlier Kate had a
They will be more happy to help you there. But to answer the tech department's question, the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, they actually work to certify organic, and actually in Maryland, they will help you get certified, work to get certified also as well. And they have the training, the expertise, and they actually do it on a normal basis. So I
Okay.
mean, yeah, but in Virginia, go to, hold on, let me pull it for you. I'll share it again real quick. Here you go.
You dropped that in the chat.
This is for Virginia. I'll give
Yes.
you Maryland's here. Hold on
No,
one
no.
second. But yes, oh yeah, absolutely. I will drop this there, no problem. Oops, workplace. Let's stop share. Oh, there.
Well, maybe somebody from Kate can help him. Oh, great. Austin, I think, just did it. Thank you.
I got it. No, you're welcome. Not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah. So these are things that a lot of the time, in the beginning, these are great questions to spend time with, because a lot of times we just don't know. This is about sharing information and making sure you guys have the best start. I've seen too many small farmers fail for not having information, or not, not being able to answer questions, or not being able to help and dig to provide resources to make sure you guys are able to grow, become stronger, become better. You guys have a lot of great starting points, a lot of great starting points. So, my college roommate, he started with 400 square feet, and he turned his freaking room into a place where he started putting out just spinach leaves. We used to laugh at him. Like, why are you just putting out spinach leaves? But he started creating small salads. He started making salads. And then he went from the 400 to taking the guest room. And now all he does is put out, hydroponic greens outside of a 400, 400 square foot, I mean, not 400, 4,000 square foot, building, where he does nothing but greens all day long. And he ships to Food Lion, and he has like 2 Walmart contracts. All he does is greens. That's all he does is microgreens all day long. And he's like, "Who's got the last laugh now? You should have did it earlier with me." I'm like, "I love this part, but forget you too." So, but I'm going through chat right now. Garner attention and compete with higher price crops. Not local buyers, but when you go to look for buyers, but that's a great question to ask, though, where to get buyers, because that's something that's a question that a lot of people want to know. How do we go get buyers? Best way to go get buyers: roll up the sleeves, and I say hit the pavement, but I know some people are like, well, I don't want to hit the pavement. Or when I say hit the pavement, look up the distribution centers inside, that are in your area. For instance, like if you guys know you have a Wagman's distribution center, contact them. They're always looking for products. They're always looking for competitive products. If you're looking for different varieties of specialty crops that you're going to produce and grow, like for mushrooms, everyone's going to take mushrooms. No one's going to say no to mushrooms right now, because a lot of people, believe it or not, that are purchasing don't know quality produce. Walmart distribution always takes customers in. But also, if you guys go to different conferences, different programs that deal in ag, you'll meet a lot of buyers there too. And I know Cake is going to be able to help you guys in restoring that in there, because they work with a lot of different groups. Like I work with a lot of groups, and I'll be working with Cake a lot. So I have no problem being able to help you guys going forward. I really enjoy it. And when we do the next live in person series, we're going to do one sometime next month. We'll be in Maryland. I'll know the location, but I like to know where you guys are located closer, because I would love to, with Cake's blessing, be able to bring the series to you guys. And all our series are free. All my series are free. I don't charge a dime to bring the groups. That's
Yeah,
about packaging.
I would just say I think a lot of our clients and students could really benefit from any of the programs you offer. I know that Isabel just sent you an email, so we could add your next event just in our newsletter for anyone who wasn't here. And yeah, if you wanted to share your information in the chat, I also shared your website earlier, if that's a good way for people to reach out to you.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm gonna give you guys my contact information to reach me, and direct line to call in. If I don't pick up, send me a text. Let me know who you are, and I'll definitely will get back to you. I'm pretty responsive. I'm pretty much available. Yes, and I'm gonna share my website again.
And one thing that I just added in the chat is, and when talking about wholesale, Cake does have a department, we call it value chain coordination, connecting farmers with institutions. So if anyone is at a wholesale level, I would recommend reaching out to Amanda. You can reach her at vcc@cake.org, because she helps make those partnerships as well.
And if possible, everyone that's here, send me an email with you guys' contact information, everything that you have. And if you can, share with me what kind of farm you're starting or what kind of farm you have. Because when we do our presentations, like when I come to Maryland, I normally stay up there like 3 days and we do several series, but we like to do farm visits also as well. And we like to put people together with like some other major groups, major co-ops that are also selling, doing distributions also as well. That Amelia's actually met two of my groups when he came to our last series, and he knows they're very informative and willing to help and willing to build up. So I mean, I'm an open book. We want to be able to help you guys be able to grow and share. And another thing that they have access to is a group of investors too. So I think it would be good if we definitely know who you are. At our next event, we come out, we'll definitely be able to go through, share more, and I like to hear more of the concerns of what's going on with you guys. So I'm able more to help. So that's something I really love to do. So, but yes, please definitely take that, send me an email, send me information, send me everything that you guys have. Prince Edward County. Oh yeah, you're not too far at all. But please, as you can tell, I have no problem answering questions. Anyone else have any questions, anything they could think of, anything you want to share, you want me to look at? If you don't think about it now, contact me. I have no problem answering the questions that you guys have. You can contact me as necessary. You need me to
Can,
visit,
can you give a
visit.
30-second pitch on like, since you're telling us to, import, export, does the packaging and with the distribution and sales really matter? Can you just wrap that up real quick?
Sure. Depending on how you're marketing your product. If you're going local from business to business, packaging is important. Depending on how you're exporting, depending on how you're shipping, it depends on how your buyer wants it packaged. If they're buying in extreme bulk, do you need totes? Do you have a specific container where they're going to break it down, or do they want it packaged and set a certain way? But if you're going from your farm or your place of business wholesale to a retailer, having a good package is important. Now, how much are you spending on your package is very important too, because that's going to fluctuate the cost of what you're putting out. So if you're distributing, I'll use strawberries for an example. How much are you spending on your strawberry container? Does it have your logo? Does it have your sticker? How much did you spend on the coloring of that sticker? And also, if it's in pints and quarts, is it going to be a quarter? Because that's going to have an effect on the cost of what you're doing. Packaging is extremely important, yes, but how you're packaging your product is going to determine, and the amount that you determine is determining if it's going to be within that 12 to 20% range.
Okay, thank you.
No, you're welcome. It's a great question. And actually, it's a great question to ask your buyers, how would they like their products packaged? Because sometimes people sell products and they just send it any kind of way. And versus having a repeat customer, you have a one-time customer that writes you off in that loss column.
That's what I was kind of concerned about. And I don't mean to drag this on, so I'll wrap it up real quick.
No,
Is
you're
that,
good. Keep asking.
oh, okay, well, the whole thing is, you can package the product and be mindful of the cost to deliver, but if it's not what the customer or the aesthetics of it is not appealing to the customer, that's a whole different game, but you're keeping the prices down. So it's a kind of a double-edged sword.
It is the key thing when we start negotiating. Let's just say, like, if you go to I'll just use such an example. You go to a trade show and you have a can of, let's just say, almonds packaged, and you have the almonds out for them to taste. And the first thing they're looking at, they're tasting the almonds that are there. And after they taste the almonds, they would say, okay, I like it. You know, how else can you have this packaged? And that's something you'll need to know if you're distributing as a middleman. You need to go talk to your distributor or wholesaler, say, hey, can you put this in a different package? Like when we were shipping peanuts to Honduras, they didn't want the big can. They wanted a small package for people to take off the shelves and run. They don't have a lot of strong packaging in some of these South American stores. So we had to convert the packages, smaller than the tubes that you would have put into inside the stores. So packaging is important, and that does affect, your costs, but you have to know it from your customer, which is the most important thing, is asking how do they need it packaged. Sometimes they may take it wholesale and say, hey, we may package it ourselves, but you got to ask that question. These are all good questions. Very good questions. You're welcome. Anything else, please ask. Okay, family, I really, really, really enjoyed this session. I'll love to do more, as necessary, but please, 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 everyone here. Yes, Isabel.
She's giving you a round of applause.
Oh, I thought it was one hand. I'm getting blind. Thank you. But please, everyone here, send me an email. Definitely. I would love to know more. And when we have our next event, which I'll let the Cake family know next week so you can put in a newsletter, and I will share it with everyone else here. And the next time, we're up there. And I like to know where everyone is because I can target and pinpoint where would be best. Normally we meet a little bit above on the Beltway. Last time we met in Largo, Maryland. But if you guys are near the Eastern Shore, or depending on where you guys are, we like to try to find a central location to get towards everyone. And I know us and Cake will do what's best to make it work for everyone. But I would really love to be able to get to know everyone and build a stronger, cooperative group for everyone with inside Cake and to get better. So if nothing else, let me look down, make sure I'm not missing a question in the chat.
So you don't want our
Yes.
information in chat, you want it in an email. Okay, my apologies. I sent it
No,
through.
no. You are fine. Don't apologize for nothing. You're okay. We're learning each other today. That's the biggest thing. The PowerPoint will be shared, definitely. So Cake is going to get that PowerPoint out. And okay, Jordan, all right, plan to start farmers market. Excuse me. Let me answer this one here because we're starting a new one in South Florida that's real big. The best way to do your farmers market to start out when it comes to products is really you want to try to get the people in there that have products ready to go. Sometimes you're going to have resellers, sometimes you're going to have different groups that are they're just not only reselling products, but the key thing is to get stuff that people want, and also products that also, and I say this thoroughly, that reflect your brand. A lot of people create farmers markets and it doesn't reflect their brand and who they are and where they stand. So yes, you want to start out to have a strong farmers market, but you want to start a farmers market that reflects you and your brand. And you got 30 people that are here to start with. So I mean, and you got a great group here. So I think everyone here would love to be able to get out, and not just test the market, but also be able to sell their products, because a lot of people are going more towards natural products, organic products, and also most importantly, local. People prefer to buy local than buy from some other country that's being imported in. But yes, that's what we do. But I would definitely take a look at this other part of producer startup program. Yes, that's what you want to do. And they also have farmers market grants that are available too. I think there's one or two that are out there currently. I don't know if it's open or not, But for new farmers markets, they do have grants that are available. And that's something there we explore too together. So any other questions, please ask.
It looks like
Nice.
Sir was asking for the best place to find the farmers market grants. I've found one like farmers market promotion program. I believe it's through the USDA, but that's the only one that I've come across so far.
That's one, and I'll do this real quick. I know someone may be like, oh my God, why don't you stop? I'm sorry. I'm just passionate about this point here. Let me see if I can help you real quick and pull something real quick up. I'll do this right now for a lot of people that if you haven't been to grants.gov, I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to go through it here. So for those that normally don't hit grants.gov, the first thing that I'll always do before filters, oops, I will always come here and just type a general word in, oops, excuse my spelling. And it'll give you a search list. Oh, let me go do farmers market, not farmers market. And let's click here. And it gives you the basis, but then also it tells you different about the grants, grant eligibility. But then the one thing that I like to look at, so I would try to find USDA grants. It used to give a list, but due to the way our government is, I think that the grant programs actually may have changed up. But I would normally type in what grants are looking and they're available, but you can also go to the USDA website here. And let's try to be more specific. And normally they have them by year and date, but some of these are they're constant rollovers and give information. You can filter here, but let me try one other thing. Grants and opportunities, you can go to the Ag Marketing Service. In Virginia, infrastructure grants, but see if the more specific you are when you type looking for grants, and I type in what's being accepted. Virginia Food Access Investment Fund grants, farmers market promotion program for the fiscal year this year. Let's click there. But you guys that are in Virginia, take a look at these right here, right now. Virginia Food Access Grant, there's 50,000 that's there. But I'm gonna click on farmers market promotion, the fiscal year. Here we go. This is what you're looking for. So grants notice last updated. So normally I try to look for if it's, if it's accessible, expected number of awards, given 245 different ones, assistant listings. So this would be for, I'm gonna drop this in the chat. Oops, my bad. Oh, duh, Austin. Didn't copy. Hold on. The group will, well, they'll definitely be able to post the grant opportunities. I'm trying to.
I
what
got
am I
it,
gonna do?
Austin.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Appreciate it. All right. So what we're able to do here, we're able to see exactly everything from the type of grant, tells you the origin, the close date. It tells you everything that's here for it, and it is looks like it's still available. Award floor is 50,000. Award ceiling is 500,000. Expected number of awards 245. Assistant listings. But then versus general information, I would look at the version history too to see which version of it's been modified, and it was updated in May. So all this stuff here is authentic. Related documents. And it's important too, I would highly recommend that people look at other supporting documents and stuff like this to help it get full, unless you know someone that's actually had it and had access to it. It would actually help. And then package. So this one's actually looks like it's already been closed, but as you see, it tells you the opportunity package, opening date, closing date, and then the actions. So let me go through these actions real quick. And agency contact information, but package forms are here. So you can look at and also prepare to know what you need. And also sometimes it gives you the history. Get back here real quick. Let me click on this one here. So in Virginia, food excess investment fund grants. Let's go with the objectives of the program: improve access to fresh foods, create wealth and leadership in low income and low access communities, improve access to capital in low income and low access in vulnerable communities, assess, support, and transform existing potential business, foster innovative solutions, uplift and share successful food business models, reduce food security, strengthen food systems. I would definitely take this one into consideration. Sounds kind of similar, but it also goes through different grant documents, frequently asked questions, and actually those that are contacted. So these are definitely programs and definitely things that are helpful, but I definitely recommend utilizing those things there and utilize your resources for what you have with Kate. And also, even through me, if you have a question, I'll never say I'm not too busy to take. As a educator by trade first, the number one thing I have to do is answer questions and be able to help as much as possible, because as I grow and evolve, I have to make sure I've the people around me that are trying to grow and evolve, and so I've taken care of our world as philanthropists are successful too. And you guys are new, and I know how it was for me starting out. I didn't have that much help. I had all the resources, but help is different. All you guys need is not just the science, but also the way to launch and how to jump. And this is why you're here. So we got to make sure we're able to have you guys be able to grow. So, and I'm proud to be here and be able to help you guys do that. Any other questions? Please ask. Please ask.
Thank you so much.
Did I miss? You're welcome. Did I miss anybody's question that I did not get a chance to answer?
Yeah, last chance to speak up if anyone has something on the front of their minds.
If not, you have my contact information. Please contact me. I still want to know everyone. Thank you. I still want to know everyone's information. I still want to know, everybody that, is involved so I could try to help. If there are any questions, anything else, please don't be afraid to contact me and ask.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that so much. And just for everyone, we know Austin is here to help any of us. Cake is here as well. Always feel free to reach out if you have any questions. If somehow you lose Austin's contact, you always have our contact, and we'd be more than happy to put you in touch. So I'm so thankful that you were all able to attend this evening. Tomorrow, I'll be sending out an email with this recording and also Austin's slides. If anybody needs to review something, maybe additional questions will come up. And it would be so great if people could attend your in-person program. That could be a really unique opportunity.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. You guys have
Yeah,
a great day.
thank you.